I don't
All
think,
right.
I don't think he knows how to count.
Hey.
Like
Whoa,
count.
and we are live. We're
Whoa.
ready to roll.
Whoa.
It's another great day of Guy Ideas.
Whoa.
Hello. Ladies and
Cool.
gentlemen, welcome to episode 8 of Guideas.
Yeah.
I'm your boy Daniel Carnes. Welcome to the show. This is going to be kind of an interesting episode considering the fact that we really didn't have the time to figure out what in God's green earth we're going to be talking about.
We only had 2 weeks. It's not enough.
I know, right, exactly. Right. All right, so introductions. To my left, if Master Roshi from Dragon Ball Z was a real person, it'd be this guy, Mr. Ryan Smith.
Hey.
Get this guy a nudie mag.
And a turtle shell.
Yes.
Goku, we have to teach you the Kamehameha. Anyway, up next, I'm pretty sure this next guy is a closeted Sailor Moon fan, Mr. Steven Coker.
Steven.
I wish I actually knew
probably
something
was.
about totally
You
said something.
should pull up Sailor Moon right now. So that way
There
everyone
were 5 of them, okay? That's all I know. It was kind of like the Power Rangers for Japan.
Man.
Except for the Power Rangers were
That was like the
stolen
one
from Japan.
anime that little girls watch.
Or Taiwan.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
And me.
And you,
I
apparently.
did watch it. There was a black cat.
Up next, if this guy was a Gundam, I'm pretty sure he'd be shooting laser beams out of his prosthetic leg, Mr. Andrew Ackison.
I have no idea what that reference.
That's the point.
Yeah.
That was ableist. No, I'm just kidding.
Able. All right, and last but not least, if he was a Yu-Gi-Oh card, he would be Blue Eyes Gringo Dragon, Mr. Drew, the Birdman Lowen.
Hey, I had 3 Blue Eyes the White Dragons, and then you know how there was the one scene where you could turn them
Like
into
turn
the
'em-
3-headed dragon
Yeah,
or whatever,
yeah.
and then they made it a real card. I had a Yu-Gi-Oh
have
deck
it.
that had all the God cards and
You-
3
you-
Blue
you know
Eyes
what I
White
think?
Dragons. It was really bad, yeah. Oh, it was bad.
Okay, nerd
okay.
moment. I have to fix something. Master Roshi didn't teach Goku. Goku learned it himself.
Hey!
Oh! Nerd.
Egg.
Crack,
Cracked an egg of knowledge on my head.
Himself.
All right, so,
Okay.
Steven, what are we drinking today?
Well, since we're going random and already talking anime, let's go to my hometown of Japan.
Japan's not even in town.
It's just,
Oh, man.
I know.
Like Tokyo or
Really?
Hometown of Japan. The whole
The
country.
whole
damn
the
island.
whole island of Japan. We're going sake.
Sake!
There you go, boys.
It was not that good, but
I love
that's
it.
okay. Hey, we got a comment already. Let's test out the
yeah.
new comment function. Look at that. David says, "Love the new bumper music, boys."
Heck yes, son.
Hey,
So we'll
also,
change it next
I'm gonna
week.
start our backup recording. I wasn't backup recording.
Oh, no.
Tragic.
So no, we're good. It's all good. It's good.
So, anyone else excited about football starting tomorrow besides the whole politics and all that crap?
I'm
aside?
excited about it.
Yeah, I'm ready for it. That's
Just
why I'm wearing
did,
my card. I got my Larry Fitzgerald representing right now.
Yeah, I wish I would have worn.
I know. I'm sorry. I should
That's
have
okay.
mentioned.
I got
You got your
Bronco
Broncos
shirt on,
at
that
least.
counts for
Yeah.
something.
I told you they would bleed it in.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know what? You know what? Hey, I'll say it live. So there's accountability. I've tried for the past 5 seasons to get back into watching football unsuccessfully. This could be the season.
Back and what happened? Why were you?
This is the
Well,
worst
so I
season to
played
pick to
football
start back up.
all through middle school, a little bit before middle school, and I played 1 year into high school. I loved football. It was my favorite sport to play, favorite sport to watch. And then after I stopped playing it, I kind of stopped watching it. I got really busy with school, and then high school leads into college leads into life, and it just kind of fell off. So
Yeah.
I never really kept up with the stats or was super into it, but it seems like it'd be kind of fun to keep up with. So maybe
It's a lot of fun.
maybe this is the
It's a
year.
lot of fun.
Maybe this is the year, boys.
No, I'm kind of the same way with football. Like, I never, because like football was like the boring sport your dad watched all the time, and then like I went to college and I just didn't have time for it. But then now it's like, hey, I'm just getting back into it. I'm not crazy into the stats because that just seems like a lot of work, and I don't want to do that, and I'm lazy. But I enjoy watching it, and I watch soccer probably once every 4 years for the World Cup, and that was my sport growing up.
Oh man, you guys are like the opposite of me. Like my earliest memory is like watching football, and it was just like a big deal in our family.
Yeah.
Everybody gathered around. Usually, at least the family, some aunts, uncles, friends, and my football fandomness has just continued to grow over the years. And get into fantasy football, and that
Right.
is just elevated
The
it
hard-
to a whole new
Fancy
level.
football.
Fancy football.
Fancy-
Yeah.
Fancy football.
It's like the fancy ketchup.
Fancy.
Yes.
I would like some fancy
And
ketchup.
I love football. It's the best.
Drew's doing a beer call.
They can probably hear all the crinkling of me. Does anyone else want one?
Yes.
Of course.
Sure, I'll go for it.
I'm good.
Do you want a pale ale or a blonde ale?
Pale.
I would like a blonde. Please.
A nice
So, do you do
voluptuous
fantasy
blonde.
football?
No, again, it just looks like so much work and
Yeah.
keeping
Preferably.
up with everything.
Low-cal.
I got enough stuff to keep up with.
Yeah, that's fair.
Burley.
Dale's pale
Sturdy.
ale, boys.
Thanks, brother.
Oh, did you want one?
What the heck? What?
Okay,
Sure.
You guys did not speak up.
Yes, I did. Thank you, Steven.
I was the one who said no. No, I can't get into football this year, and that's okay. Got better things to do, anyways.
Yeah.
The hardest thing for me is like I don't want to spend like
I cracked this.
$500 a year for cable. Like I'm trying to find different
You already-
alternatives,
well,
like Hulu
If
Sports.
you already
or-
have it though, it's not. You're not buying it for the NFL.
well, like NFL ticket and like cable.
That's
and,
different. Yeah. If
right.
you're buying an NFL ticket, I get
Right.
that
I'm
with
just trying to
NFL
find a
Red Zone.
decent alternative to watch because I mean I want to watch my cards, but I have to like
decent
go to.
alternative to the Cardinals.
What's that?
What?
What'd you say?
Decent alternative to the Cardinals.
No, alternative to. I'm sorry. I'm finding
You
like
wanna
an,
watch
an
like
actual-
I don't
an
want to.
actual
I don't want to
sports
pay for
team?
an NFL ticket. I don't want to pay for something crazy like cable to get like.
you know what you gotta do is
Right.
find a friend who has NFL Red Zone.
Do you have NFL Red Zone?
I don't.
Wait, we got
I
a
have to
comment.
also
We got a
find a
comment
friend.
coming in. My friend from college, Evan, says, "Can't wait till sports and pop culture finally come back and people return to venting their anger over silly things again,
Ooh.
like Star Wars."
Tell sport.
Hey, Star
I
Wars.
love talking
Or
about
sports,
Star
you know.
Wars.
Evan,
I will
sports has
talk about
already
Star
come
Wars
back.
all
I don't
day.
know what.
I think.
Yeah, but I think he means
Luke,
like in general. Like some of them are coming back.
I'm just
some
gonna
of them
say
still
this.
aren't.
I think Luke Skywalker in the latest game of Madden would be a better quarterback than bringing Colin Kaepernick back.
And demonetized.
if we're gonna make fictional characters,
You
in-
at least-
in
I don't know.
Madden,
It depends. If you're going like Last Jedi, Luke, then he'll do just as little.
No, I'm talking. I'm
dang.
talking OG.
OG.
We're talking the
so
canonical Star Wars. No, I'm just kidding.
like the decent Star Wars where he has a green lightsaber and is fighting Vader.
Pretty much.
Okay, cool.
That's
Yeah.
what I think. That's what I was going for.
Yep. That's about the pinnacle of Luke.
I don't.
'Cause otherwise, he
I don't go
doesn't
too
do
deep
a
into.
damn
I don't
thing.
go too deep into the New Testament. New Testament. You ever see that like college humor skit where it's like all these guys are at this house and like they're all Star Wars nerds and they're talking Star Wars and then they start talking about like the prequels and it's like no, we don't talk about the
never
New
saw that.
Testament and it's like related to Judaism. It's pretty funny.
That's great.
It is.
Meanwhile,
Meanwhile,
Meanwhile.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Well,
That's good.
so does he mean? Like he wants politics out of sports and
That's probably-
entertainment?
I think that's kind of what he means. It's just
Like-
like the whole world to open
whole
up, get back
world's-
to normal.
so.
Everyone needs to get outside, stop being so cooped up,
Mm-hmm.
and
yeah. Stop beating your children.
so.
I talked to a
Hey,
cop.
dude, are you
no,
okay? What's going on at your house?
I live down the street from a cop.
You can call
and
the cops.
No, so I live down the street from a cop, and ever since the whole like COVID lockdown, like I was asking, it's like, is it true that like all domestic violence calls are up? And he's like, yeah, everything.
Well, yeah. Could you imagine being stuck with your wife for that long?
I
That's
have
actually
been.
the,
It's been
like,
great. It's
that's
been
right.
fantastic.
Sorry,
Yeah,
sorry.
my kid.
The statistic is all these people that never spent, like divorces were going to go up because all these people that had jobs and lives outside of their lives.
Yeah, they didn't realize that they
had-
didn't spend enough time on the relationship, and
Yeah.
now they're realizing it.
Realizing, oh no.
I heard somebody describe it as I signed up for sickness and in health, just not for lunch.
It's not for lunch.
Oh, that's brutal. That's so brutal. See, I don't understand that. Maybe people say it's because I'm a newlywed and it's all the honeymoon phase, but I personally think that doesn't have to be true, because I really enjoy my wife and I wish I could spend all day with her and have lunch. Like the first part of Corona when we first got married, that was amazing because
See,
that's what we
the nice
wanted
part.
to do.
I'll
It's
take
when-
it a step further. Back in Phoenix, when we worked corporate jobs, we would only see each other like a few hours at night after work.
And it was awesome.
It was awesome.
But then since
That's all
moving
we
here,
needed.
since moving here, it's like I have this unique opportunity to like my wife and I work at the same company. So it's like not only do we get to raise our child together, but we also have the ability to work with each other in a business. So
Right.
and so it's been interesting, but like, I mean, overall, like I got like you, I like hanging out with my wife.
Well, it's because you married the right people.
Right.
Exactly.
So
There's a
it's really
difference.
weird. Like I think so. We were at a barbecue 2 nights ago, and everyone knew my parents. They're really close friends with my parents, and they knew that we had just gotten married in COVID, and it's been 6 months this month that I've been married. And they're like, "Oh, is the newlywed phase over? Haha, you still feeling good about your marriage?" As if we're supposed to be like, "Oh, it's getting tough," And I was like. I literally looked, and just out of the top of my head, because I was kind of sick of the question, I was like, "No, we're actually trying to keep the newlywed phase for our whole marriage." And this guy went, "Oh, good for you. That's actually really awesome. That's how you should do it." And I was like, "Is that not what everyone like goes in thinking they should do?" I don't know, man. It kind of broke my heart a little bit.
Of course not.
Well, and it works when you find someone that not necessarily likes the same things as you, but can understand when you like certain things, and
Right.
like both vice versa. Because what happens is there's a split between people sometimes, where if you guys obviously have figured out that you don't have to lose things, or
Right.
you understand what's more important, where some people they have a lifestyle that they had, and then they got married, and their lifestyle doesn't blend with their married life, or their spouse doesn't necessarily like their lifestyle choices, and what it's done is create tension. So work was an outlet for people to, like, I love my wife, but I do need a break sometimes. But all of a sudden I don't have a break, like, because and now you've got
But I
this.
think, I mean, back to the week when we talked about like relationships and marriage and stuff like that, like I think it comes down to like your guys' values, because you just said like, oh, your lifestyle doesn't gel well with your marriage. And so I think it's ultimately it's just having similar values and setting those expectations. I mean, Jamie and I have been married for about like past 4 years now. And the way that we were when we first got married just a handful of years ago is completely different than it is now, because things happen and things change. Like, we moved to a different city. We have a child. Like, my son just turned 1 year old, and having a kid and how that kind of throws a wrench in your marriage and how things change. And you just, I think it's just having one of the major core values in a successful relationship is just being able to say, okay, no matter what, divorce is not in our vocabulary. We are going to do everything we can to make this work regardless of what the hell happens. So
Well, and and I agree. I think
I just wish
you've got to be able
people-
to.
I just wish people understood that.
Well,
what I mean?
and I think people got to like you said, like, well, they shouldn't be marrying people that they don't have their lifestyles don't mix. So they shouldn't be marrying into something that doesn't. But you should also have an understanding of your spouse, because, like you said, expectations, where maybe don't set some expectations sometimes, because what you've done for some people, I talk from experience, is once there was an expectation and I didn't hit that expectation, it was bad. And so, like, being able to understand both people, like both
Right.
partners, should be able to help. But going back to COVID, a lot of bad people out there, and you just gave them a lot of time to be together.
They all realized how awful they were.
Yeah.
All right, we got some comments pouring in, so I want to address a couple of these. So Evan followed up saying about our Luke Skywalker. He said, "You have fan fiction Luke or edgy art film Luke." That's, oh man. Yep.
Emo Luke.
That's pretty much how it goes. Then he also said, regarding the COVID part, mainly the problem is that people really have nothing much to talk about other than politics and COVID, so they feel like they have to take a side and get angry.
But that's what really annoys me about sports, is the fact that I think it was an outlet away from the politics and away from the CNN and the Fox News. So now it's like, and I think this has been happening since we were younger. It was like sports and politics have kind of become synonymous with each other. And like, someone says one thing about the president, and then someone tweets about something else about whatever the hot political topic is at the time. I think recently I read that the NBA's viewership has been going down like drastically, because ever since all the players started kneeling, and the whole like politics that has been going on nowadays. So, and being are you're kidding me, right? Like, you didn't think for a second that this wasn't going to happen. Everything that's been happening within the sports realm has been very divisive.
Yeah.
I mean, another example is China, like the way that the NBA's kind of handled that whole situation in the Hong Kong protests. It's like, what did you expect?
People need an outlet.
And just don't mix sports and
Sports
politics.
used to
Well,
be
it's
that
not even
outlet.
just sports. It's movies. It's
Right,
video
it's whatever
games. You
your
can't.
hobby is. It's kinda
you
like
can't.
escapism,
You
yeah.
cannot escape anymore
I think-
to anything.
So on that video note, like, I think Drew, you and I should get together and like create a movie. And I have a perfect formula. You take really attractive people and you put them in a drama, and I almost guarantee you will win an Oscar.
No, you can't do that no more.
Oh, that's right.
You can't do that no more.
Okay. All right, we got some more comments.
No more Best
David
Pictures.
Atkinson said
What?
regarding
about
our discussion of marriage.
We need to talk about that.
Yeah, not now. David said regarding like people spending time and getting divorced. He said it's extremely important for the male psyche to have a professional purpose. Sometimes having a job to go to makes a difference.
Go
I
out
would-
and hunt and fish and
Yeah, I would
kill
agree with that.
something.
No, I think I
Catch
did
a
a
bird
lot of
with your
thinking.
fishing line.
Yeah.
See,
Hey, personal attack. I went fly fishing one time and I was fishing into the dark. I couldn't see, and I caught a bird.
Hence the reason why we call him
Impressive,
the Birdman.
They call it fly fishing. That's what
Yeah.
bird.
No, it was
man.
that was the bird's fine. It didn't. I didn't
Harvey
hook the bird.
Bird.
The line wrapped around its wing, and I was able to get it close and unwrap it.
Good old
It was fine.
Adult Swim.
But what I was gonna say is, there. I think he's right. There is something. I think there's something about all people that needs a purpose, and something to drive them forward. But especially there is something significant about males that we need. We have that kind of like hunter instinct. Like you were just saying, like go hunting or something. Like we have
it's
that
the
drive.
testosterone that drives being what it is. Like,
Yeah.
Kind of. It's part of it. I think it's like cultural narrative about what manhood looks like, which you can tell. It's
Well, not anymore.
exactly. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, right.
Well, and that's a good point because so it used to be, and I want to be careful here though because there is some unhelpful discussion, and then there's some helpful discussion that's no longer allowed either. I think that men are driven to test their limits with danger, and that needs to be done in a healthy way. We need to learn how to do that in a healthy way.
My wife is watching like. So that's why my husband jumps off the roof into a swimming pool.
That's exactly
all the
why,
time.
Jamie. That's exactly why. But I think the misconception is that females don't want to participate in that danger. They do. They want to be invited into it, but they want to be invited into it with someone they know is captivated by them and will keep them safe. They want the
Yes.
risk, but I think that's the difference. Is females want to be invited into it, and they want that captive. They want someone to be captivated by them that wants them
They want to be
alongside it.
held captive.
Some of them. All right, Steven's mic is turning up. Just kidding.
Mute it.
But then, for males, I think we're more willing to jump off cliffs
some
just because we
freaky
want to
stuff.
see if we can survive it and
Yeah.
do it, But anyways,
I think there is a deep-seated urge within the male psyche to prove ourselves.
Yeah.
Like to show that we're worth
it's
it.
all just a dick contest. It really.
In some ways it is. And
Yeah.
honestly, like one of the things I've heard a lot of guys say on a more serious note is I'm just afraid I'm not enough. Just in general. Like it doesn't have to be in like the sexual way.
Way to
it's
hit
just
the
in
core.
any way. Like that is one of the cries. Seriously, that is one of the major fears of men.
hurts.
Like I have heard so many guys say that. I'm just afraid I won't be enough in X, Y, or Z, in my marriage, in my job, in my relationships, anything.
All of the above.
Yeah, all the above. Like,
Yeah.
and
I'm not
that's
good
why
enough
we
to
seek
get the
to
girl.
prove ourselves.
I'm
And
not-
in some ways, we've already like just basically acquiesced to the idea that, well, I'm not going to be enough here, so we overcompensate in some other areas and try to inject in excitement and worth into our seemingly hopeless landscape.
I wish.
This is why men do things that are stupid and dangerous. Because there are things that are good and dangerous. But this is also why men statistically have a higher rate of smoking and drug use and alcoholism and suicide. And they also tend to deal with fringe ideology and conspiracy more because when they don't have the confidence to deal with what's actually good and dangerous,
When you
they
have-
deal with what's stupid and dangerous.
When you have no purpose.
I like that. Good and dangerous.
So I think like I wish one thing that women would understand, especially with their husbands, is the fact that men have very fragile egos. And I feel like
Lie about our size, ladies. Lie about our size.
I mean, like you said, it's like we're not enough. We're not enough mentally, emotionally, and if like we're one of the reasons why why I love her so much is because she recognizes that I have a fragile ego, and she has to constantly remind me of like, hey, like I appreciate you and all these things and stuff like that. So
I heard a guy describe it really well. He was saying like, if my wife came to me and asked like, do you think I'm beautiful? And I said, well, I told you that like 3 years ago.
I know, right?
Like,
yeah.
you know, that just, it, you know, like the way he described it, and it seemed a little simplistic, but it made a lot of sense, that women want to be cherished and they want to be reminded of that
Right.
every day, because that expires at midnight. Everything that you've done to prove that expires at midnight. It's
getting
very
in the habit of saying, hey, you look very beautiful today.
well, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's very similar for men, but a lot of it has to do more with being respected and trusted.
I'm surprised Steven didn't say dick size.
I already said dick.
He did.
Now.
Yeah, he
It was
did.
all. No, I'm just kidding.
It just made a lot of sense. We want that
Yeah.
continual reminder.
Well,
that,
we
yes, we are
we
trusted.
need
Affirmation.
affirmation. Is that the word?
I also
Okay.
think like, you know, when I receive like compliments, it carries like a long ways. Like I think it seems like it carries for men like a lot longer than complimenting a woman about anything. Like even if it's just something at work, like your boss, hey, you know, I really appreciate this or that, or you did
Yeah.
really. That carries for a week, 2 weeks, a month.
So for me,
I think
it's
it varies.
more. So for me, it's I don't know if I need to hear I'm doing a good job. I just need to not be reminded of all the times I screw up.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I don't because I could go through it'd be fine if someone never told me all of the if I never heard a bad compliment about it but never heard a good one either, I'd be fine. Because that meant I was doing something right. But the moment like I screw up a little bit and hear about that actually does more damage to me than not hearing I did good, or because I just assume, okay, I'm doing fine, but
Oh, that makes me feel bad because all I do is talk shit to you.
I'm used to that. But no, I just
I hope you know it's in good jest. It's not,
Well, I
I'm
do
not
it too.
serious. I respect you a
I
lot.
seriously
Okay,
think
good.
you're a closeted Sailor Moon fan.
I thought he was going to say homosexual, but which one's worse? I don't know.
They're synonymous. They're the same picture.
Right.
But yeah, no,
Oh,
I
that's
just
horrible.
It's,
Demonetized right there.
yeah, no, I'm very. I feel like
Watch Joe Rogan's show.
I always forget about Joe Rogan, man. He gets away with
Demonetized,
murder.
like all the time, and you're like, I don't know that.
It doesn't
know
really
what
matter. Yeah.
Did you hear about him on Spotify and some of his episodes were like yanked?
they got you. Yeah,
Oh, some of the old
Really?
ones. Yeah, they
Yeah,
yanked.
some of the-
but it was
they yanked some of
mainly.
the, they yanked some of the Alex Jones episodes.
Yeah.
Really?
Did anyone ever
Yeah.
figure out what was going on with that?
No, everyone just assumes. We'll have
Dude,
to wait.
I don't blame him. They paid $100 million a
No.
year for Joe Rogan, and then he has Alex Jones on 2 times. That
It
guy's
doesn't
a-
matter if you paid him for his show.
Yeah, they knew
you
what they
get
were
his
getting
show.
No, I agree with you too, but I'm just saying I understand why they did it.
I don't. I think that's.
I don't
I think
think
it was
it's the
stupid
right
because
decision,
what
but-
scares me is
It's just
how
red
much
flags.
control do they now have of his show.
But then also you're kind of
Yeah.
feeding into like we talked about the other week. It's like feeding into the conspiracy theory of like, oh, they pulled these episodes of Joe Rogan where this like crazy guy from
yeah.
conspiracy theories. It is lizard people's confirmed.
Well, it
Oh, let me get
adds
the
to
picture.
the
Let me
moment
the picture back. Yeah.
the moment you block stuff, and this is what YouTube did with stuff, is the moment you block stuff, you actually add more fuel to the fire
Okay.
of conspiracies. Because now is he bending over for Spotify, or do they have a lot of creative control? Like now you have all these people talking.
I doubt it,
Well,
though. I
no,
doubt he would
but
give
that's
it to
what
him.
it creates is now you
Yeah,
have
the
all these
pressure.
people talking about it. Like, why did this happen? It's kind of suspicious
Right.
that happened.
It creates a possibility.
But
Right.
I'm with you. I think Rogan still has full control. It's just,
I don't think he'd
It's
put up with
weird.
it, dude. I think he would cancel a contract and pay whatever he had to get out of
well, I
it.
think
if he
so
felt
too.
That way.
It was just kind of like
is
that's what
sketchy,
adds.
though.
That's what adds to the conspiracies is once you block stuff or don't allow
Right.
stuff.
Well, and it kind of goes to the whole discussion of are you a publication or are you a platform,
A public forum.
a public forum? Yeah. And so David says, I gotta put this one up.
Well, because like
Wait. David says, are you guys saying lizard people aren't real? No. We fully affirm the existence of our overlords, okay?
right.
No, I'm just kidding.
They're crabs.
I just had to put that one up there. That's amazing. There's this whole discussion of, there's pretty good evidence that YouTube is, if not blatantly censoring, they are algorithmically suppressing. That's a buzzword for you. They're suppressing the level at which certain people they disagree with show up in your feed. Unless you blatantly seek out that content, then it's the only thing in your feed. You know
Dennis Prager and PragerU are prime examples, as well as Steven Crowder recently got remonetized.
Yep, victory for him.
And there's a really good video of Dennis Prager sitting in front of I think it was a judiciary committee in Washington, like, this, we're a 501c3, we're a nonprofit. This is, we have a very conservative message. We noticed and found out that, like, our video about the 10 Commandments was on a restricted list. Anything that contains pornography or like really messed up stuff, like, you couldn't watch it in a school or a library with those kind of filters, because what YouTube and Google claimed was it had the word murder in it.
Yeah, so stuff like that happens on YouTube and Google.
Right.
It also happens on Facebook and Twitter. And so the debate is...
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes. And that's the thing, is it's very selective. The debate with these companies, because at some level they have to have community standards, right? Like, we can't let Twitter become 4chan where you can just go post whatever you want,
But that's what it was supposed to be.
Yeah, are you sure?
Well, no, it wasn't. They had community standards, like they wouldn't allow pornography or
Well,
violence.
yeah, no, but
they do allow pornography now. It's weird. So it's kind of muddled.
it is weird.
But
Doesn't make
like
any
they
sense.
have community standards because they want to keep it respectable, and I think that's fine. I mean, that would be like
But
if
you
you're
can't
in a public
change
place.
the rules after someone broke a now new rule,
Right.
and then go and attack the person for.
Well, that's
doing
what I was
that.
going to say. Is the problem is there's a difference between having community standards to uphold peaceable discussion, but allowing for multiple viewpoints. That would be a platform where if someone is, maybe touting, they're publishing like child porn. Obviously, no one agrees that should be allowed to be on Twitter. That's horrible. That person should be arrested and thrown in jail for I know what you're going to say. Not yet. But the difference is when they start selectively suppressing or selectively censoring voices, and it seems like there's a pattern based on their own views, that's when it would become problematic of, like, are they now saying that they're a publication? Because then there's different laws.
Well, that's the debate between public forum, which should have decency rules like no child porno and all that crap.
California would disagree.
Oh, I knew he was going to say it.
I was like, I'm sitting there like, that's it? That's what you were wanting to say earlier?
Yeah.
That's
Is
it?
it sad? Is it sad that I knew exactly what I was going to say?
Oh my god. No, but that's the debate. It's like, okay, are you a publication like the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, the Washington Examiner, the Washington Post, whatever, or are you like a public forum where people can interact with each other as long as there are specific rules that protect, children and all, basically keep people from having to look at and see crap. So.
Yeah, it's hard, man. Big tech is getting really comfortable, I think, with being politically motivated.
Speaking of other politic news, William Barr, the Attorney General, it was reported that he was sometime soon going to file an antitrust suit against Google.
Oof. I'm not going to say anything about our overlord Google, who is currently hosting our live stream. But if I were going to say something, I would say it's probably about time.
You're right.
I don't know. I don't know if that's the road we want to necessarily go down for this whole podcast.
No.
But there's some real issues there, and that's
Just an interesting side note.
It is interesting because they do. If you think about it, the entirety of human life, the majority of information transmission has shifted onto these platforms owned by Google and Facebook. Those are the big two.
And
they have a lot of control, so it's really important how they handle that.
I'll take it a step further, and I'll get a little nerdy here for a second. The S&P 500 index is an index that basically is one of the measures of the stock market, and 20% of that index, it's cap weighted, 20% is composed of Alphabet, which owns Google, Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, and Facebook. 5 companies, 20% of that. 20% of the freaking S&P 500 is those 5 tech companies. That kind of helps put into perspective how much money is in this thing,
That's crazy. And it makes sense. I mean, if they're funneling the industry of commerce through Amazon, that's like where a lot of shopping is happening.
Right.
There's a lot of we talked about a lot of good that's come from that. A lot of jobs, a lot of money into the economy. It's not like it's a net loss for everybody involved, but it is an ethical thing of like if you have the keys to that much, people have a right. Not people are justified in asking questions about how you handle that. David Atkinson says, "Come on, guys." I logged on to hear a lively discussion about anime and how Sailor Moon is a ripoff of Hamlet. Oh.
Okay, can we explore that? Oh my god, I've never heard of it.
I didn't even know my brother knew about that.
Can we do a deep dive right now of that? Because that kind of threw me for a loop.
That's like the whole the Lion King is Hamlet as well. Have you guys
It's
ever
true.
heard that one?
I have
Yeah.
heard that one.
Yeah, that one's,
It is though.
It is
It is,
pretty much Hamlet.
I got Alexander Hamilton stuck in my head for whatever reason right now.
Sailor Moon. Is he full
See,
of shit or?
I don't know.
Because it's kind of like a Power
I
Ranger.
don't
need
watch
a-
Sailor Moon.
We need a
I don't know
fact
what you're talking
checker.
about.
I'm
I haven't had a
surprised
computer-
David
Fact
said
check.
that. I'm pretty sure he doesn't watch that show, but I could be wrong.
I wonder if he's like looking up.
I
Probably is
I
the-
vaguely remember Sailor Moon. Like it was one of those
I
like
can't.
I
weird.
did
So,
not watch it.
I have a great story to talk about this. So because Power Rangers Power Rangers and shows like that.
Still working on that beer. Need a beer?
I'll take one. They were filmed in like Taiwan and in countries out there, and their shows.
Blonde or pale?
Blonde?
Both?
Both? Blonde and pale? Yeah. Yeah.
I knew it.
Pale blonde?
A pale blonde. I mean, it makes sense. But so where they get their clips from is
Nice.
is from these shows
The show of bodily function.
I know.
that they
He
make
said basically everything is Hamlet.
basically everything.
Basically everything.
He's
is
not
Hamlet.
wrong. I mean, like, there's a total of like 13 stories, I think.
I want Steven to finish the story.
Sorry. finish
So,
your story.
anyways,
There's
so,
only one story, Ryan. That's the gospel.
so if you there's
two.
certain shows that they have to change their dynamics of their characters,
Gospel is
like
both.
Power Rangers and stuff, because they have to match what they're stealing from these other countries' shows. So that's why, like, every once in a while things change and they have to adapt to it because the shows they're taking from changed. Well, so I auditioned to be a Power Ranger.
What?
That's
when
the
I was
most
18.
interesting
Which
statement of this
It was one of the
podcast.
newer ones when I was 18 years old, and the reason
Steven
I
was an actor.
He was. Yeah.
He
acting.
he had a scene where he had a scene where he got blown across this. What happened?
I
He
got blown up in a spaceship.
That's
awesome.
Dude.
But all you can see is a figment. Like, they cut the actual scene that shows me, and all you see is a figment of my body going across the screen.
Wait, what
Bummer.
show?
They
It was a
CGI'd
movie.
his body to be
It was
a dummy
called
corpse flying
Star
across the
Raiders.
screen.
It was like a really low budget movie.
Awesome.
Yeah, I have an IMDb page.
Dude, do you have a copy of the movie? I'd love to watch
No, I
it.
would love to find it.
Can we live stream the whole movie with live commentary?
I don't know if we can, but we should.
Oh, there goes Steven's body.
Like a mystery science theater.
And we'll have Drew
Supposedly.
re-CGI him.
So supposedly the last movie I was in, I was a zombie, and I'll go back to my story because that's. But I was a zombie, and that actually is supposed to come out next year. So we could, I think, direct to DVD, so we can go buy it and
What?
and watch that. And
You
I'm a
can't see it
zombie.
in theaters?
Probably not.
I think we should petition very, very aggressively for that to show at the drive-in
and
here
ask
in our,
and ask
Oh,
every
that'd be
single one of
glorious.
our subscribers. I'll like 2 of them.
I was a wild.
22.
22.
have 22
You guys
subscribers.
did it.
Come on
Wow.
down.
We're getting there.
I was a
Hey.
wild creeper. That was my character in the zombie movie.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
hey.
And I was
So
like,
what about
so
the
what?
Power
What's the
Rangers?
difference between my everyday?
So what happened to your Power
Oh
Ranger
yeah, so Power Rangers.
audition?
So this is where I've really found out that it's all based off other countries and shows. So in Taiwan, I think, or I believe it was Taiwan for this one especially. So what they do, they asked my height, and I was like, well, I'm 6'3", and they go, ugh, and I go, what? And they go, well, so the way it works is you're not actually the Power Ranger, you're just the guy, and you'll do a voiceover for someone. But they've already filmed, and all of their actors are about 5'8" to 5'9". So we have to match heights to these people because
Seriously?
there are times that you would wear
Oh,
a
interesting.
suit, but you'd have your helmet off. So they didn't want height disparities.
Couldn't you just crouch? And
Well, and that's why I was like, come on, I really want this.
What?
And that's what kept me from doing it.
Cut his knees off so he could be.
Yeah, but that's what kept me
from King of the Hill.
Yeah.
I kill Finny Man.
Bitty man.
But that's so that's
my shit.
I was too tall to be a Power Ranger. And you know what? Height, everyone's all height is great, but it's kept me out of the Air Force because I wanted to be a pilot and I was too tall. They told me, so I didn't even attempt to do that. And then
I'm just trying to imagine.
and now and then I couldn't be a Power Ranger. You want to talk about two dreams just getting crushed?
So okay, first of all,
Childhood dreams.
question number one: what Ranger were you? What color were you?
I
Or
didn't know yet. Like I hadn't gotten to that point.
Okay,
it was kind of random.
Okay.
Depending on which character you
And I'm
got.
just imagining like the U.S. government giving Steven control of like a 50-ton flying object with like missiles and machine guns on it.
Yeah.
That would have been awesome.
Yeah.
Super cool.
Life would have been different.
I know.
Wow.
But someone could fact check me on that. But that's what, when they came to recruit at my high school, I was like,
This was back in Denver.
yeah. So
Okay.
I was like, I really want to be a pilot. And they're like, you're too tall. And I was like, what? And,
What?
so, and maybe they just lied to me. They just saw this dumb kid. They were probably like, you're not smart enough to be in the
Yeah,
Air
why didn't you
Force.
try to do other things?
I
in
could
the
probably
Air
go
Force?
in the Air Force and well, probably not. My eyesight's probably gotten a little bit bad, and I think you like they want you
I've
to
seen
have.
people with glasses.
I want to. They want you to have like a
You can have
bachelor's
bad
of
eyesight.
science, and they want you to be a certain height range and just be like super smart.
So I heard something interesting yesterday,
What's that?
and so I'll ask the question though first because it's an interesting question. Where do you guys think the most remote place is in the lower 48? So exclude Alaska and exclude Hawaii. What do you think is like the most remote area?
In the
Montrose,
48.
Colorado.
That's not true. In the
Not
48
Mon-
contiguous states.
Yes.
Oh man.
Montana or Wyoming.
Okay.
The state, like a whole state.
I would be
No,
probably
just
a good
like
guess.
the single most
probably a
remote
good guess.
place.
I would say I'd be tempted to say Wyoming.
Yeah.
I would almost argue Death
So-
Valley.
Okay, so it just the answer is it depends on how you measure it. So when we looking at this, there's one
Is
that
it from
is,
base or girth? I mean, let's discuss
TMI, Steven.
how to measure.
That's how you get the TMI.
David says Oregon. Oh, you know what? Oregon's a
No,
good guess, actually.
But you know what, David, you've been to somewhere that I'm going to be referencing here. So if it's the furthest from a major city, it's in Maine.
Burn it
Somewhere in
down.
Maine.
Interesting.
Power to
The
the
furthest from self-service, it is in somewhere in Idaho. It says Frank Church
That
River.
makes sense.
The
can
least
see that.
populous county is a county in Loving County, Texas. Population 134 people. So it's 0.167 residents per square mile. But some guy decided, I don't know if this guy's just a huge fan, but some guy wanted to find out. Oh, sorry. The other one is the spot furthest from the nearest, I'm going to say paved road, is a place in the southeast corner of Yellowstone. So it might be
Wyoming. Yeah.
But somebody
That makes sense.
decided he was going to attack this from a different point of view. And he decided, where is the place that you are furthest from a Mickey D's? The Golden Arches. And it changed recently. So it used to be, let's see if it says where it used to be.
That is
Anyway.
a very interesting question.
Oh, it used
Or
to
a very
be
interesting way to look at
These are the things that
in,
keep me up at night.
in Dakota. Let's see. Is it
Which, South or North
I think
Dakota?
it's North Dakota.
North Dakota.
But now,
North
so
Dakota,
in
the worser of the Dakotas.
oh my bad, South Dakota. But now there used to be a McDonald's in Tonopah, Nevada, which David Atkinson, you might have been there before. You might have eaten at that place before it closed. But since that is closed, there's now a spot in Nevada that is the furthest away from a McDonald's. But the weird part is it's only 120 miles from a McDonald's. And so that's the furthest you can get
Wow.
in the whole entire lower 48 from a McDonald's.
Seriously?
120 miles.
I haven't-
120 miles from a
I
McDonald's.
thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, that is a
Well,
very
that's kinda
interesting.
cool.
That's really sad.
So,
dude. No wonder
it is
America's
really sad.
fat.
You know, you want to know something?
How
other,
big America is? Oh my God.
You want to know
Well,
what
that's
else?
true too.
Over $1 billion served.
Like,
In America.
We've got so many McDonald's.
so
you'll never
so
be
do you
far
remember
from
the
one.
movie The Founder?
Yes, dude.
And-
Great movie.
At the end of the movie, it
Fantastic
goes into
movie.
like all the like historical facts, and they found out that McDonald's feeds 1% of the world every single day.
Yeah, I do remember that.
That is
was a good
like,
movie,
crazy.
actually.
But then like
So every
another-
100 days, it feeds 100% of the world.
every day,
1%.
1% of the
Well,
world.
no,
is
every
fed.
100 days, it feeds 100% of the world.
Yeah, I guess so.
Mathematically, but not actually.
But not
yeah.
actually,
Yeah, I eat McDonald's like.
But I'm just
once
saying, in
every
100 days,
lifetime.
it feeds
would
the entire
feed-
population.
It would feed the a number that
That's
is
crazy.
equivalent
They
to
do
the
have good
population of the
coffee.
world.
Yeah.
They do have
Those
good
are-
coffee.
yeah.
Okay,
Surprisingly.
you know what? And you know I'm a coffee snob. You know that I'm like.
Oh God, what did I start?
No.
He loves Starbucks, guys. Just so you know.
Starbucks. I will never go to Starbucks ever, ever, ever.
You should buy him a Starbucks
Horrible.
gift card for his birthday.
Waste
When's
of
your
your money.
birthday?
He pawns it.
Waste of your money.
Uh-huh.
If I'm on a
If I get
road
paid,
trip,
I'm gonna write him a check.
you
for
can always
Starbucks.
guarantee that gas stations are gonna have coffee, McDonald's is gonna be there, and Starbucks is gonna be there, or Dunkin'. I will go to McDonald's over all of those places because the coffee I like isn't in every place I go to,
Yeah.
and it's definitely not usually in like small towns that are on the way to my destination.
Right.
So I will, even though it's not like the quality I make here or the quality I make,
Pretentious much?
you know, or like that I buy.
Hipster douche.
I will trust McDonald's for my road trip coffee because it's decent for what it is. Like it's in the
Right.
category of coffee it's in. It's
I'm
good.
surprised you
really
are
good.
not someone who brings his own coffee maker.
No, I do. I totally do. But here's the thing: when you're going to
Plug it in the morning when we're driving, and I
that's the
make
thing
a
is
cup
that
of coffee.
I can't do that. So when I get to my destination, it's in the hotel room or whoever's house or whatever. I have my coffee set up that
Yeah.
I bring with me. But when it's on the way there, that's where the
I
So-
like coffee, but you
So
take it to a
if I
whole
had
new
to
level.
if I had to make a choice, I would go to Dunkin' because the way that they make like their blueberry flavoring with their coffee is really good.
Ooh,
see. But
that
that's the thing
sounds
is,
good.
as I want a place that I can have black coffee and actually enjoy it. Whereas like if I went to
I'm kinda-
Dunkin'
yeah.
and
Why
got
wouldn't
black
you just
coffee,
go to,
I'm like,
like,
whoa,
You know, you
dude.
stop in at whatever small town. Almost every small town has a nice little local coffee shop.
Right, but
But they suck.
You pay
Is
like
what he's
$5
trying to get at.
I like
So-
Coffee Trader.
I think so. I don't know. It's one of those things where like,
Bean. I like Looney Bean more.
I was gonna say I like Looney more.
see, I would not go to either
I
of those
prefer
places.
Starbucks.
Guys, we have
Okay, Cimarron is the best.
we have
actually.
one of the best coffee roasters I've ever had in my life. in
Said every
Montrose,
hipster in
Podunk,
every
Colorado.
city in all of
But the problem with
America.
Cimarron is maybe it's changed since the last time I went in there, but the problem with Cimarron is that there's no you order it and you leave. Like I don't want to. That's not what a lot of people go to a coffee shop for.
Yeah, it's a small
No,
shop.
I go to Starbucks
shop.
to make sure everybody knows that I'm important and that I'm working on something that they're not working on.
What do you work on?
What?
Nothing. No, that's every
I work
person
here.
I ever,
I like
every
to
influencer
talk
out there.
and visit.
I go to
Get to hang
Starbucks in the
out,
morning
yeah.
and I work on my day.
Well,
So-
right now they're not open.
Local
Do you-
coffee.
you
Did
can't do that at
Buckhorn-
home?
Did they close for good?
They're gone.
Oh, across the street from,
Buckhorn's
from my
gone.
office.
That's
Yeah.
sad.
sad,
Oh.
Dude, we would like
Buckhorn.
Buckhorn
coffee.
was
It good.
is that like coffee
We're-
coffee
so wait.
roastery
Coffee
place?
Were they already closing before COVID? And that
I
was
don't-
just a
No,
I don't
coincidence?
think
they
so.
closed. They closed during COVID.
Yeah, but
and,
I
like,
didn't know if it was a coincidence.
I
or
don't
if
know
was
who
because
owned
of
it or
that.
anything, but like I thought, oh, cool coffee place, and then like I you know
The place was really good.
You are now
You went
entering
there?
the part of the conversation
Is it
that
good?
nobody
I liked it a lot.
understands.
it's
I guess I just
in
didn't
all
go there
honesty
enough.
though, and nothing
No.
against them, it just smelled like you would smell like when they roast their coffee beans, like it smelled bad.
Well, okay, so in their defense, there's like two phases of the Buckhorn saga. They sold it. I think before you moved here, they sold it. And the people that bought it weren't nearly as good at roasting the coffee. The people that owned it first, as far as I remember, I think they sold it and it got downhill from there. But they did close. But that's a conversation.
Hey,
as
if you
Ryan
worked at the
said,
Buckhorn,
that- no.
we're talking shit about you.
Oh my god.
I actually, so there was a point in my life when I was home roasting. I had a popcorn popper, like a whirly top, stovetop popcorn popper, and I would buy raw coffee, green coffee beans, and roast them myself. And I would go to Buckhorn because my parents
me.
lived, you know,
Yeah.
before they moved, they lived right behind there.
Right.
And I would just walk there, and it, like when I would be, it was during college, so I'd be home for the winter, and I would like walk over there, buy like 3 pounds of green coffee, and roast it like a half pound at a time for the week. It was awesome. They used to have like a really good source for coffee.
But then he went to Cimarron.
Why
And
was it green? I thought
nothing's
coffee was
better than
berries.
Cimarron coffee.
Yeah, well,
Go back
okay,
to-
all right. Let's pull up some pictures here.
Nothing
So,
is.
I've been to a coffee farm.
Maybe Black Rifle coffee. Have you tried
It's definitely
that?
not green.
It's horrible.
right.
You don't like Black Rifle?
But
Horrible.
they,
My
uh,
brother will live and die by Black
So, here,
Black
we're-
Rifle, but of course he's in the military. So
But
I was
it's
gonna say I've never
horrible.
actually had it. It
One
was
of our
way too
batteries
expensive
died.
for me to order.
It's horrible.
Is it?
It's really bad.
Oh.
What is?
Black Rifle?
Black
No,
Rifle
I haven't
coffee.
had that.
it is bad, you know.
Like if you had just
Well,
had
well,
white.
Well, of course
butter
it
roast.
is. To
No,
you.
my dad gave me like
Okay,
an
hold
entire
on,
bag
hold
of
on,
it.
hold on.
I
So-
tried it like 7 times. I hated
But
it
it was
every
just
time.
one of
Hold
the
on. You
Maybe.
guys are missing a big point about this. Black Rifle coffee was started
Oh,
by a
like
veteran.
that. I see. What you're
Yeah.
saying.
My
Sorry,
brother,
sorry,
who is
sorry.
So therefore, it is delicious.
no, therefore to veterans and like guys like my brother who's in the army, that's like their shit. You know, like that's like the brand that they'll live and die by.
And another example of
Right.
loyalty trumping something decent.
Wait, but
Wait, what?
Ryan, you've had it
Loyalty matters more
one
than quality.
of their roast. That's like saying you tried a French roast of coffee and now you don't like coffee.
Yes. Loyalty over quality. How many things?
Always.
How many things are there right now that it's?
Starbucks
So
is
many.
a brand than it is
Yeah.
coffee.
Well, no,
Right?
like go away from coffee. Just like, I was thinking video games. Like, how many video games do people just buy every year, and they don't get any better, but they keep buying it because of loyalty?
Madden.
Not
Apple?
Madden.
Apple?
Apple. Like, how many things
Yeah.
that we go through life that we buy because it's the norm or it's the.
Somebody,
Looking good.
yeah, somebody.
Sorry,
was-
battery died. Had to switch battery.
Okay,
Oh,
so
okay.
somebody like wrote an article and it was talking about how like the wireless earbuds when Apple came out with those, how they were like basically used as like a way to show off prestige and
These right
wealth and stuff like that.
They suck.
Apple AirPods. Get your copy now.
They suck.
Get
You know what I hate about it too is
I
we've-
love them. I love
You know,
them.
but here's my problem with them is
douche
we've
when they
allowed
were-
loyalty versus quality to destroy all of these products because of well, we're getting rid of the headphone jack. Oh, we're getting rid of this. Oh, we're getting rid innovation, but it's actually them going, "Hey, we're going to make them buy stuff."
That was stupid.
I was
But that's
talking
where
to-
loyalty to quality has come. They're just going to buy it and they're
Right.
going to do
They're
it.
just
And
gonna
they're
buy it
and
anyway.
if we didn't buy it, they wouldn't make it.
But
they
it
would
co-
go back and
It
fix
comes down to like the power of an
don't
image
build
because
it,
like
they won't
I had somebody
come.
tell me one time, he said like Starbucks isn't a product, you're buying an image. And just the way that you market it.
That's
You're
true.
buying a dead mermaid.
So okay, oh man, the genius. Okay, as much as I will never drink Starbucks coffee.
I'll get
right?
him too.
I will never.
Trick
But-
We'll gag him into
Trick him.
sleep.
I have to give them
Hey,
credit.
I'm making coffee.
You want some? Sure.
So Starbucks, Starbucks isn't playing the specialty coffee, craft coffee game. They're not like it's like let's put it in terms of beer. Like this is a craft. These are both craft beers. These people are beer nerds. They're small business owners who love beer, and they don't really care if they make $1 million. They just want to make a living making really good beer because that's what they love. Is
Which
really good beer.
That's
right?
that's another funny conversation we'll come back to, but keep going.
Right. But coffee's the same way. The type of coffee I like is craft coffee. It's people who are like coffee's really interesting. It can be really amazing. I want to pursue making really, really amazing coffee. The problem is if you get so in-depth in making that product, there's a couple reasons it won't make you a billionaire. And one is that you're invested in making the product good, not invested in the marketing of it. And they often can't get ahead in that game. There's some people
McDonald's.
who do.
was
But
the
then the
whole
other
point
problem
of
is this, that
movie.
coffee changes year to year. It's a physical product. It's a crop. So seasonally, it will be different. And the thing about consumer expectations is we want the same thing, right? We want reliability. And so a roaster that knows what he's doing, that his product tastes different every season, but it's still really good, is not as dependable in the mind of a consumer as something that's really shitty, but is the same. So Starbucks realized that coffee could be more than just gross ass Folgers, but it could be something where they invite us into the cafe experience that Europe had. And that makes a lot of money in Europe. Europe had the cafe scene before America did. We just were all drinking it at home with our motor oil. And so Starbucks said, hey, you know what we're going to do? We're going to make coffee that's the same every single time. You know how we're going to do it? We're going to burn it to hell and back. That coffee is going to meet Satan. So if one year this Guatemalan roast is really astringent, but the next year it's really sweet, we're going to roast it so dark that you won't be able to tell the difference when that hits. And then what they do is this. Well, coffee's bitter and people don't like it. We don't want to go for the coffee nerds who don't care how it tastes. We want to go for the everybody. So they make it really sweet. And so what they do is they brand milkshakes as coffee. I'm talking 1,000-calorie drinks.
And giving them like
Love
fancy, weird,
them.
fancy-ass names.
Yeah. That's the other thing. They take fancy European coffee culture. So in Italy, you have a macchiato, which is espresso with a dollop of foamed milk. That's what a macchiato is. Starbucks goes, that sounds really cool, but people freaking hate that. That's disgusting. You know what? Let's do this. Let's take a giant latte with heavy cream and drizzle caramel on it and call that a macchiato and rebrand the macchiato. Pump so many marketing dollars in it to where now most people think that that's a macchiato, and this weird Italian thing is some idiot that doesn't know how
Yeah,
to
that's
make
why
coffee.
everybody else tastes
Me.
like shit.
Because they don't put sugar in it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sugar's the best.
Yeah, I would wager that most people who are like Starbucks fans and like go there, multiple times a week, they don't actually like coffee.
Right.
Guys,
They
I'm
like
a
their-
basic bitch.
They like their.
It's
I
like the
love
guy,
coffee.
the
I love
guy
my
that would
pumpkin
go to
spice
the
latte.
gas
Well-
station and buy Paps versus the guy that
Yeah.
goes and buys the crap
They like
stuff.
their coffee
It's almost
flavored
that
time of the
milkshake,
year,
their
dude.
coffee flavored
And
heated milk.
Evan,
I don't drink
in the
coffee
comments, Evan
That's
actually
a
brought up a good
completely
point.
different conversation.
Evan
Yeah,
speaks
yeah.
exactly what I'm talking about.
Coffee?
I think it's more of the quote-unquote, Evan says, I think it's the confidence tax. Most people that I know who buy Apple products, aside from a few diehards, are paying the extra money for something that just works. And he says, and it's exactly what Drew is talking about. So it's
That's a good
a
point.
combination of they know there's a trust, they're going to get the same thing every time. But then also there's like this sort of, I think there's like elitism to it. Like, oh, I'm the guy in Starbucks with the nice fitted Calvin Klein suit who's, ordering a grande, matcha cappuccino, even though that doesn't exist. And I sit in Starbucks and they don't like coffee. They don't care about the actual tech specs or reliability of an Apple machine. They like the feel of that lifestyle, even if it doesn't actually make them happy.
And it goes back to what I was saying about the earbud
Wow,
thing.
I'm such an ass tonight.
It goes exactly back to what I was saying about the earbuds, like how people use that or see that as like a way to flaunt status. And so, yeah, go ahead, put those in.
Sorry, what were you
are
saying?
the
Yeah,
most
exactly.
hipster douche.
I can't hear you guys. I'm just listening to my, NPR podcast.
No,
on my earphone.
Have you ever seen
shots
what is,
fired.
was it Bose or Beats by Dre? The you're the man, where the commercials where they
Oh, I think it was Beats.
Beats by
wasn't it?
Dre.
Beats by Dre.
Yeah.
Beats are
Did you-
overpriced garbage, dude.
I have a pair.
They're
Beats-
horrible.
Beats are the Apple
But-
of
Headphones.
headphones.
But have you ever seen that? This is bad, but have you ever seen the Daniel Tosh skit where he makes fun of the Beats by Dre?
No.
It's I'm gonna do it. But he's wearing them. He's like him and his girlfriend are walking to the abortion clinic, and he has his Beats on, and there's a bunch of people going murderer to this girl, and she's all like crying, and he's just going, "You're the man, you're the man." You're the man."
It's dark. So
Yeah.
dark.
I think
That was when Colin Kaepernick was in the league. And he was doing
was a
the
long
Beats
time
by
ago,
Dre.
yeah.
Yeah.
Him and
And then they had an
Russell
NFL
Wilson.
draft where they gave everybody a Beats by Dre, and they were like doing their little.
it's all
promos
marketing
for
at
the
that,
draft.
and it's
They're
like in every other rap video is some guy wearing some kind of Beats
Yeah.
product.
stupid.
so
Evan made another good point. Here, let me bring this one up. He said he kind of roasted me because I had talked about how elitist Starbucks is.
Roasted.
And then he said, isn't there also an elitist culture to underground coffee? To which there absolutely
So what
is.
does underground coffee mean, and what is that?
I think he's referring to like specialty coffee. So that would be like Cimarron. That would be...
It's the same as the
beer,
beer
yeah.
drinkers are like, I
it all
am only
started-
drinking Dale's Pale Ale. I would never touch.
Okay, so
Coors
I
Light."
was thinking like there was
That's
some
the
kind of
piss
underground
water.
coffee cult that was sacrificing
No.
children or
It's
some
just
shit
like,
Well, there
look
could
at
be.
me.
No, I'm just kidding.
No, it
So,
all
like,
started with
Drew-
wine.
I rock.
It really did. It
No,
all started
no,
with
you're
wine.
totally right. You're
Everyone
totally right.
made this like, oh, we're higher and better than you guys. Like, kind of.
It's the
society.
status thing.
Yeah, the
So,
status.
so there's
Even
like-
though it's probably not that great. And then now coffee.
I don't know,
Other
man. Craft
places
wine
have.
is really
Well,
good.
no, but there's like so many things where they just act like it's the best.
So I think what it is. So I think there's like there's a difference here though.
If you don't know,
They are both elitist and highly exclusive, but the difference is that like type of Starbucks elitism is more about your economic class than it is about your hobbies. You know,
Right.
this is my opinion. I think that the people who are in like the Starbucks Apple elitism, and I love Apple, but I like Apple for a different reason than some sort of like mid to high level big city finance exec loves Apple. You know, sorry Daniel.
I'm not.
You're a
re-
small town finance exec. You're
No, I'm not even an
Yeah,
exec.
you're
That's
just-
the problem. No, I like. I don't know. Like, I liked Apple for a little bit, and then like it got. They just.
Right.
Yeah. Steve Jobs was just like
right.
Nazi all the way. Not like actual, not actual Nazi, but the way he had control and stuff was like really.
He's very
messed up.
particular.
Yeah.
That's a big reason they're successful,
dead
but it's
now.
kind of. But
Right.
so there's that type. It's more of like a. It's like a status symbol of like I'm
Exactly.
doing the thing that makes me feel like I'm living the life I feel like I should live.
But are
Whereas
there
the
products-
craft beer and craft coffee is more like I've sacrificed my whole life for coffee, so you should freaking care about that a latte is only 8 ounces of tight microfoam, okay?
I only drink coffee from countries where the money actually go to people.
No, dude, it's not even that.
Right.
I
mean, they'll
only
do
drink
that
coffee
too,
where
'cause they
the
use
drug
beer.
dealers make the coffee.
No, it's more like
Colombia.
I
Coffee. It's like Folgers coffee bags filled with Coke.
so to put in perspective, people that are snobby elitist about coffee and wine are very similar in those spheres to total potheads. So like, and that's a good reference because like like when you meet someone who smokes weed versus someone who like is like a diehard pothead, like, oh dude, did you have that Cali Kush? Yeah, that strain, like that mutual strain between that and the Purple Haze from California, like you mix it 40-30.
Oh, you've
and let
never
it
smoked
incubate.
weed unless you've smoked this.
Right. So coffee and wine are the
It's
same
true,
way.
you haven't.
Those are the people whose whole life is the actual plant, right?
Right.
Oh, you still snort
So
coke
is
from
there,
your pinky?
Wait, is there a product where
Grow up.
people are elite about it, but actually for a good reason? Like maybe it lives up to what is supposed to. So
I would
an
say
amazing
especially
product.
coffee, but there's
Yeah.
a lot of asshole stuff around.
Maybe
it.
like something more
Well,
in the
'cause-
mainstream, like
so,
a
like-
mainstream product, computer brand, car brand,
vacuums, dude.
Shark vacuums. I'm a huge fan
There's
of
two
Shark
brands,
vacuums.
Shark vacuums, and then there's one other. It starts with a K.
Kirby.
Kirby. There are people. So my in-laws have a Kirby vacuum
Closet
from
Shark.
like the 80s. And they don't buy a new vacuum. They buy off-brand repair parts because this vacuum is so good that it's worth it to actually physically pay a Kirby repair person.
Yeah, I'm
So
pretty sure
it's,
my grandma has a Kirby.
Yeah, so
But
vacuums.
My
Shark
friend
is
used to go
incredible.
door to door and sell Kirby vacuums.
Nice.
Yeah, they don't make them the same. That's all that stuff, man. If you buy something from like the 60s or 70s or 80s, it can last forever. But if you buy something from now,
when
2
my
months, man.
so when my wife and I were dating for Christmas, I bought her a brand new KitchenAid mixer in her favorite color. And the reason why I bought it was because like my great grandmother had a KitchenAid, and that thing has been around since the 60s, and it's like all still metal products and still like really good machinery. And,
It's funny that you brought that. I was literally just about to say. I bet KitchenAid
Oh,
falls
yeah.
under that.
Right.
Like everybody. My grandma has one from forever ago. Yeah, my mom, my sister, they all have
They're
one.
older stuff though. Some of their more modern appliances.
Well, it's
aren't
like
as good,
everything.
man.
Everything's gone to shit.
Well, it
'cause
seems
we're
like they
China.
maybe have
China.
two different
China.
lines.
Everything sucks.
where,
No
like,
thing's
maybe
good
one is still
anymore.
really good.
This is a problem. This is what he just mentioned is a big problem.
I
Like
don't
modern.
even make kids right anymore.
David Lewis said, "You ladies gonna talk about kitchen mixers next?" And we.
so
I do love my magic bullet.
Yes.
Those are cool.
I think
That's
so.
fun.
Kind of going back to the whole coffee thing. Like, okay, when I was in high school, I had a geography class, and we talked about a little bit about coffee and where it came from, and then how like you have these South American countries where a lot of the coffee's made, but the workers are paid like absolute dog shit. So then like there's all these different brands and organizations that really try to push for, hey, let's actually sell a product in like the United States, a decent product, you know, at a relatively decent price, so that way these guys can actually start making a decent living for themselves. I feel like there are brands and there are industries and products where there are people being taken advantage of, and I think there's some guys, like even in, like I mentioned in the coffee industry, I think there's guys out there that genuinely want to do good. So I don't think like computers, to an extent, like all the computer stuff ends up in some country where they have to like basically strip of all the toxic chemicals and stuff and all the materials in it just to get the material in it that's valuable to sell that and to make money. But then the life expectancy is so low. I can't remember the specifics. It's been a while since I've been in the IT industry, but I don't know. Those are like the two main industries that I can think of where there's some kind of like people are being taken advantage of.
Yeah, coffee's been a big one. Well, and it gets really weird. Like, so I've worked in coffee for a long time, in various different coffee shops at levels that are definitely not specialty coffee, that are more like Starbucks, and then levels that are like so elitist that it's almost uncomfortable. Yeah. There was one coffee shop I worked for that was so like, they had really good coffee. Don't get me wrong.
Was it Lux?
No, it was Cartel. Oh, Cartel Coffee in Phoenix.
I'm trying to remember
where. I didn't stay there. I literally quit on like my third shift. It's in Phoenix.
Where? Like,
there's like 6 locations. There's one in Tempe, one downtown,
Cartel
one in the airport.
Coffee.
They have a Tucson location, a Palm Springs. Anyways,
doesn't sound familiar.
It was just like really elitist. Like, there was just not good vibes. They were like the type of people that were.
You weren't vibing.
Right? No, they weren't like nice to their customers when I was there, and it's changed. They've changed a lot since. It was a problem.
You don't have to make excuses for them.
Anyways, but it's interesting that people in coffee have, you know, because coffee is a commodity. I mean, it's such a staple.
It's a luxury product.
Surprised when you quit, your head wasn't put on a spike.
Maybe, dude. They might be. Someone did call them the coffee. Yeah, someone did call them the coffee Gestapo in Phoenix that I knew, because they were so like mean about their coffee sometimes. But in the coffee industry, they started these things like fair trade, you know, and then like the organic label, in order to try and fix the problem you were talking about.
Right.
But it's almost funny. Like, I worked with a couple roasters who thought that they actually had direct trade partnerships with Nicaraguan and Brazilian coffee farms and micro lots in Ecuador, and they didn't have a fair trade label. And it was hilarious, because they have what is by definition a fair trade relationship. They have a direct trade, no middleman, and they're paying way more than the actual stock trade value for their coffee. But because they didn't want to pay the fee for that label, we would have people come in and be like, do you have any fair trade coffee? And they'd be like, well, we don't have anything that's certified fair trade because this farmer couldn't afford, like, we didn't want to make them pay for the label, but we have a direct trade relationship. And people would walk out before you could explain to them that this is actually better for the farmer than some other middleman that's good, you know? And there is a lot of good in that fair trade stuff, but it was just really interesting how, like, you had to pay more for this organic or fair trade label, but if you actually just did it and didn't pay for the label, which made the farmer even more money and you more money,
right,
then you wouldn't get the clout. You know, it's just it's a weird thing about how that stuff works.
So one thing I will mention, though, I think Budweiser was extremely smart. So remember Four Peaks Brewery? Mm-hmm. So it was like big news back home. They're the guys that make like Kilt Lifter and their peach ale and all this other cool like different like micro brews, and they were what was the comment? You got to read it. You're laughing too hard.
David says, sheesh, somebody talk about skinning and butchering an animal or shaving or squat lunges or something with at least a smidge of testosterone.
Okay, Steven, you're up.
What?
What? That's Steven's like,
Wait, Steven, you've been hunting the last few days.
I've been lost the last 10 minutes. I'm sorry, guys.
Weren't you hunting?
I went hunting. You want to talk about testosterone?
Skinning.
I have yet to get my elk, but I'm gonna get him this year.
Nice.
And I'm gonna skin him. I went pig hunting last year. Woo!
Javelinas.
It was so much fun.
Where have you been hunting at?
So I hunt kind of all around here, and then Texas. I've been hunting. Do you guys hunt?
Yes.
I've been trying to get into it. I'm trying to convince my dad to let me have his 7mm mag so I can hunt with both elk and deer.
Nice.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, I'm doing a pronghorn hunt in
Oh yeah,
like a month.
you're going.
So my neighbor told me that you can go online and get a Idaho hunting license,
Mm-hmm.
and Colorado will recognize it.
Andrew, am I on the
Huh.
right angle? Hit number 2 if it's on Daniel. There you go.
Okay, so since the camera's on me now,
Yeah.
no,
You
so
want a beer?
I'll do a blonde. Well,
I'll
that
do a
sounded
blonde
really
as well.
That sounded really bad. I'm so
Ew.
sorry. I will have a blonde beer, please.
No, I'm still going.
Oh my
mine.
God.
I'm milking mine. I'm milking my blonde.
Oh my god. Anyway,
Made it worse.
What? You guys
She's getting a little warm. She's getting a little warm.
There you go, Daniel.
thank you. Anyway, so like I was saying, my
You wanted
neighbor
to talk about lunges and men and testosterone.
was dicks.
Milking ladies. What?
I left for 4 minutes to say hello to my wife, and
She knows me.
we appreciate you and we laugh about you throughout the week because of this type of thing that you say. Yeah, it's funny, man.
I got tits, Greg. Can you milk me?
God.
Oh man, all right.
Meet the Fockers. Come on. Or meet the parents, yeah.
Which is way better.
You can
than
milk
the
anything
Fockers.
with a nipple.
Yeah.
Well, I got nipples, Greg.
That's a great movie.
It's a great movie.
I feel like that era of comedy is kind of over. There was like some really good, not so crude that they were unwatchable, like Seth Rogen style movies, you know, where they're just like, ugh. But they were like really funny, like that. Although it is kind of funny to watch them in today's cultural climate, because you go, oh man, this would.
Well, I watched.
It's the height of, you know,
I watched
Vince
the.
Vaughn.
Yeah, I watched the internship. With,
That's not that funny.
What?
That's stupid.
You didn't like the internship?
Yeah.
No,
Why?
it was dumb.
With Vince
I
Vaughn?
didn't think it was that funny.
With Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson?
Yeah. it wasn't
You
that
need
funny.
to watch it
No,
again.
it wasn't
It
funny.
is
That was like the
hilarious.
very end of
because
that era,
now,
while we're
well, because
transitioning
now
to
to
full
look
stuff,
back
full
at
stuff.
it is I love it. It's hilarious because it's very dirty, but it's like making fun of Google, and it's even better now.
Oh, that might be
Maybe,
worth
that's
watching
true.
again. Yeah, that.
That's
No,
right.
it
that's
is
a good
hilarious.
point.
You
I
have
didn't
to
think
pay
about
attention
that.
because then Rob Riggle's in there, and he makes jokes about having sex with old ladies because he sells the motorized scooters. And he's like, man, I get laid all the time.
Has anyone watched? So they just like 6 months ago, and this is weird timing. They put National Security back on Netflix. You guys seen? It's
Yeah. Oh yeah. that's a
Martin
funny
Lawrence.
movie. Yeah.
And
Oh,
it's the one where
Oh,
Martin Lawrence is
in,
trying to be a
um,
cop, but he's not
Bloom,
a cop. and
Orlando Bloom.
no,
No.
Let me look it up. National Security
It's
cast.
he's the, oh man.
Steve Zahn.
Oh, Steve Zahn.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which one was the one with?
It's got Bill Duke.
Which
in
one
it,
was
too.
the one with Eddie Murphy or Eddie Griffin and oh, he was the guy in Evolution, the black guy in
Right.
Evolution.
I don't
Orlando
know.
Brown.
Bloom. Orlando Bloom?
No. Or-
That's the white guy. From
Orlando
Lord of the Rings.
Jones.
Orlando Jones.
Okay. Well, anyways, National Security was it was like it wasn't a good comedy movie, but it was kind of funny, kind of had some
pretty funny.
action.
I remember it
yeah,
being
yeah.
pretty funny.
I watched it a lot as a kid, and it was really weird. It got back on Netflix, and I watched it like 2 months ago in the midst of all the current civil unrest in our country, and I was like, "Whoa, dude! I'm so surprised they put this on
Isn't that
Netflix."
the one where
Because the opening scene is
he's like picking
Martin
a lock?
Lawrence is in the police academy, and he's almost a trope character. Like he almost isn't developed. It's kind of bad writing in my opinion, but he's almost like trying to play the black card to a point where everyone, even the black people, are laughing at him in the movie. And he fails the police academy for chasing after the sergeant with his police car and like hitting him with the car to arrest him. So they kick him out. He goes, "You just kicked me out because I'm black," you know, because it's like obvious that wasn't the reason. He's just playing that card. And then he's trying to get his keys that he locked his car out of his car by reaching into the window. And that's when Steve Zahn walks up to him and is like, "Are you stealing this car?" He's like, "Oh, you think I'm stealing this car because I'm black?" And he like then a bee comes after him, and then the character is Hank Rafferty, the cop, tries to beat the bee with the stick, but someone films it from behind the car, and it looks like he's beating Martin Lawrence. I'm like, oh man, I can't believe they put this on Netflix right now. Like, it's
What's the part where
horribly
he's
timing.
he's like, what? Just you think because I'm black I have like tools? And then he's like, well, no, like you're a locksmith. Like get your tools. He's like, all right.
There's some like stuff that I'm like, man, maybe back in like 2004 this was okay, but like if you would release this movie right now,
Well, it's like Undercover Brother
yeah,
with when
yeah, it's just weird.
Dave Chappelle. Everything that you say to him is like, it's because he's black. What? Hi, that was a
Right.
The NBA invented the 3-point line just so the white person could keep playing or something like that.
Yeah, but it's and then hi. You smell weed?
It's weird. It was a weird experience though, because I used to watch the movies as a kid, and I mean, when I was like 8 or 9, I wasn't really aware of all that stuff anyway.
They're still funny, Drew. Come
No,
on,
I'm
man.
not saying they're not funny.
Was it PC
I thought the
culture
timing
too
of it
much?
was really funny because it was like not funny. It was just I was like I couldn't believe Netflix of all companies was like, you know
Yeah,
what?
that's
I
true.
think now is a
Yeah.
good time to put National Security, which is a movie about a
Yeah, you're probably right about that.
It is
but
interesting.
I don't think we can buy into all this PC culture stuff.
Have you seen the episode of Family Guy where Peter and Cleveland can't be friends anymore because their wives hate each other?
Yeah.
So Peter dresses up as a cop and pulls Cleveland over.
No.
And he's like, Cleveland. He's like, I'm gonna need you to step out of the car. Peter, what are you doing? Cleveland, it's me. It's Peter. Don't worry. This is so we can hang out. Sir, I'm gonna need you to get out of the car. And then he starts beating him.
Oh my god.
He's like, I love you, man.
Is
this is
this
the
what,
only-
do you know what season this was?
Oh, this was like 14 or 15. And Joe rolls up and he goes, "Oh, we're beating black people today." And he starts hitting
Oh,
him.
no.
And Peter goes, "You're not welcome in this town."
Oh, dude, it's totally wow.
And he goes, "I love you, Cleveland." And then Joe goes and starts hitting him and he goes, "You're not welcome in this town."
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Oh
Just
Family
because
Guy
he's
is so on the nose sometimes.
I kind of can't wait till the next season of South Park comes out. That will be.
I don't even know if they can write a season because anything that they could say might actually be true by the time the episode comes out.
Right. No kidding.
Are they doing a season this year? I haven't seen anything.
Hopefully.
Dude, we might have passed the point where South Park can't even, like, it's too real.
No, it'd be
Yeah,
sad.
Well, did you see? Okay, did you see? LeBron James was wearing a shirt that said "Vote or Die," and that was a South Park episode
Oh my.
made in like 2008 or
Isn't there
2009.
this-
That
this-
the black guys were running around with shirts going "Vote or Die."
Oh my God.
It's like the whole Simpsons thing.
That's what I was going to
Simpsons-
mention too. Like
yeah,
the Simpsons.
The Simpsons predicted.
predicting
Oh, yeah.
They
crap.
predicted not just that Trump would become president,
But he would
like
beat a
20 years
girl.
in advance. Yeah, that he would beat a girl, and there's that escalator that he went down. There's a picture of him going down. I don't know where. It's somewhere popular.
Yeah.
But there's a scene in The Simpsons that is almost exactly the scene in real life.
That's
that
the kind of
happened.
stuff that makes
That's
you want to
weird,
believe
man.
in the
life
Illuminati.
has become life has become a parody of South Park. South Park
It sure
is not a parody.
See, that is a great theory.
Oh
That
man.
life has
world-
become a
yeah.
parody of these shows.
Yeah, it really has. Because all these things they made fun of for so long is now becoming reality.
Dude, I'll go off that.
so good. I
this
love
was
that.
my thing. Like, okay, I'm gonna be intentionally counter political for a moment. I'm not taking a side. I'm externally commenting on the reality. There's a bunch of people when Trump got elected. There's a bunch of people like, oh, is this really the person that we want with the discourse of our country? Is this really the person that yada yada yada? The thing is, our culture is always reflected by our president. Always. Like him or hate him or whatever it is, we always seem to choose the people that are reflective of our current moment. And we're in a moment where reality and fiction are being blurred by this sort of reality TV sort of integration where your influencers are doing real things but getting paid to do them to make content that are fake, And this is the world we're living in. And so it really is like blurring the lines between reality and fiction. And like I used to say this back in 2016. I have blog posts about this. And 2020 it's not even like a theory. It's like full blown. The news, Babylon Bee is a perfect example of this. You guys remember when Babylon Bee came out and like, that's really funny because it could almost be true. They literally started a site called Not the Bee, and then they have the Babylon Bee. And they post articles from both, and unless you look at the URL, you almost cannot tell
the damn difference.
whether it's a real news story or whether it's satire.
Right.
And that's where we're at. So it's like this thing where I think we're in a culture that's so hell-bent on topping itself and the next crazy thing, and like, well, you jumped out from almost space and landed on the Earth. I'm gonna jump out of the Red Bull thing from Jupiter and land on the Earth.
Yes.
And we like constantly raise the bar of absurdity to the point where we don't know what's actually grounding us to reality.
Well, South
anymore.
Park now has to be normal. Like they just have to have ordinary days now.
It's
because
like
that's
it's
how
like Lady.
much of a
It's like
parody
Lady.
So good.
life is to it.
It's like Lady Gaga wearing normal clothes when she first came out.
Mm-hmm.
Like she, she was just so flamboyant with like her wardrobe and just her persona that like on Halloween she's just dressed normal.
well,
Remember
isn't
the
it-
meat dress? That was great.
Oh man,
Well, it's
The
like
classic
Nickelback. Everyone
A
hates
little too
Nickelback.
raw for me.
Everyone hates Nickelback, so now Nickelback makes fun of itself
right?
and kept it relevant.
What kind of weird parallel universe are we living in right now?
It's
Nobody
the
knows.
Berenstein Bears thing, dude.
What?
It's just
The Mandela effect.
Yes.
You guys ever heard of
Dude,
that?
I could talk about the Mandela effect for
Take
days.
it, bro. You haven't said
Go
anything
for
yet.
it.
talk, buddy.
Mandela effect is a really interesting thing. It's like what Drew brought up is probably one of the more accessible ideas. Like, do you guys remember that storybook, like with the bears,
I love
like the family?
I love the Bernstein
Well,
Bears.
w-
Bernstein?
Wait,
Whatever it's called.
what is it? Say it.
I always thought it was, let's see, Bernstein. The Bernstein Bears.
How do you spell it?
I have no idea. I'm a horrible speller.
You're asking illiterates to spell stuff.
For a second, I thought you said Epstein.
The Epstein
But there's-
The
Bears.
Jeffrey Epstein teddy bears.
Well,
Oh,
here's
gosh,
here's one of the
dude.
major here's one of the major points that people can point to, is that some people claim die hard that it's Berenstain with an A-I-N. Some people claim it's Berenstein. It's Berenstein. I'm one of those people.
Stein.
S-T-E.
What is it?
Yeah. See, I forget anymore. I think
It's A.
yeah. And a lot of people, some people will just claim like this is a group of people misremembering something. This is just faulty memory. But where the term Mandela effect comes from is there's a group of people who swear that Nelson Mandela died in prison. Yeah. That we live in a separate alternate reality where Nelson Mandela is alive, was alive, and then died of natural causes, like later in life. So it's this idea that we
Which is
branch
what
out in their major
happened, right?
details.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is most of the time, it's small details. It's small little things that happen that are disputable. That's why it's called the Mandela effect, is because that's like the biggest thing that people actively dispute with one another. Like, no, I literally remember watching a news report that Nelson Mandela died in prison. So it's this idea that we're constantly living in different parallel universes. Some people, have taken it to be faulty memory. Some people take it further and say, like, we live in different universes, and how we measure that is the details that change from universe to universe.
So, society today is actually proving that the Mandela effect is false, because what someone was calling it is, I can't remember what it's called, but it's like going to a movie with two people, and two people walk out of the same movie with two different ideas of what happened in the movie. Mm-hmm. And so in society right now, we have things where two people can have two completely different ideas of one event that happened, and you have video evidence to show it, but both people saw what they wanted to see. So there's an actual term for it. But so the reason I disagree is because you can see it in plain day, where you can see evidence of something happening and you can have two completely different perspectives of what happened in that video. And it happens all the time nowadays, and it's like
weird. That's
and,
weird. It's almost like postmodernism, even though I would ideologically say postmodernism is false, has become the way through which we view the world.
well, it's like going to a movie and someone goes, "Man, can you believe the undertones of this and that?" And they go, "What movie did you watch? It was nothing to do with that."
Right.
And that's where you can get these
everything
Two
is reader response
completely
theory.
different.
What's that Joe Rogan episode with Elon Musk talking about that we're living in the Matrix and shit like that?
Oh
I do
yeah, where it's a
love-
simulation.
Yeah.
This is really no. This is I have stuff to say about this. I've been thinking about this a lot because like I would say that most people on the surface would probably reject the tenets of postmodernism, which is that everything is relative. There is no truth. There's only cultural constructs, right? But it's weird. There are some people who do, very fringe people that blatantly accept this. But I think that they've been very good at disseminating these ideas in covert ways to where most people live as though they're true in their experience, even though I think ontologically they're not. Like, I think there is objective truth, right? There's objective reality. And I think most people, most Western people would say that that's true. But what Stephen's talking about is a phenomenon where,
Unintentional blindness.
yeah,
Is what it's called.
where we're legitimately, we've legitimized reader response theory, which I'll explain in a moment, to a degree where we're willing to assume that the narrative through which we're trained to view the world is always right because it's the one we're given. But at the same time, we're experiencing this rift between people who disagree with us that interpret things very differently. But it's weird because it used to be that people would say, it seems that this is the case, but there's probably a wider story. Let's be objective about this, right? Whereas now people are like, oh no, I know exactly what's going on. They read into, like, think about it.
Social media is only extra. What's the word I'm looking for?
Exacerbated.
The
Yeah.
echo chamber effect of like, oh well, if you only follow the Ben Shapiro's of social media, then you're only going to get the Ben Shapiro side of the story.
And to some degree that's true. But isn't it interesting, like, do you remember when you were a kid, like, watching the news? They didn't talk about narratives. They talked about facts.
Yeah,
Right. And now both sides, even Fox and CNN, like whichever one you pick, they will talk about the current narrative. And it's this weird thing where I think people have just accepted, falsely, I would say, this idea that there isn't the ability to become objective. I'm not saying objectivity is easy, but I think people have just submitted to this idea that it's impossible. And that might even be what causes the Berenstain-Bears effect, where people clinging to this idea that they have some sort of objective hold on their memories, which are fallible, are now claiming that they've subjectively shifted or changed, you know?
Well,
But-
what could go back to it? So besides the Bears, what is another one that is there? Do you know a few of them that are like very popular in the
I'll look it up.
the Manila effect?
Mandela.
Manila.
Mandela.
Oh my god.
I mean, like, it pops up in a lot of different ways, and yeah, people pull on different ones. One of the ones that I can pull from my life, there's that Bruno Mars song, like Strawberry Champagne All Night, Cocaine and Diamonds,
Yeah.
all right, whatever it is, yeah. It's the lyric is Lucky for You, that's what I like. When it first came out, I remembered it being Good Thing for You, that's what I like.
God, I'm trying to think of things because I know there's a few times where I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
I swear it was
Yeah.
something else.
Yeah, there's a lot of things like that, and most of us will actually find one or two. Like it's
It's like that Taylor Swift song where everyone thought it was Starbucks lovers, but it ended up being Starstruck lovers.
Yeah.
I heard Starbucks.
exactly. I mean, like there are a lot of different things that people will pull on. Like I could have swore it was this, and like some people tend to think that it's the sign that you're in an alternate universe. You switched over somehow.
So here's a couple of popular ones.
Scenes in movies.
I
I feel like there's a few ones.
movies seem to be the common theme here.
I know the
Star Wars.
Star Wars. I Am Your Father versus
Yes.
Yeah,
No,
Luke,
that's
I Am
one.
Your Father was a big one.
Luke, I Am Your
remembers
Father
Luke, I
versus
Am Your
No, I
Father
Am Your
versus
Father.
No, I Am Your Father.
Yeah.
What about this one? You guys probably won't know.
Wait, say that one more time. It's
Yeah.
What did Darth Vader say to Luke?
No, I am
Yeah.
your father.
But most
But,
people
but a lot of
remember
people.
Luke.
So when it's quoted in movies, it's Luke, I am your father.
Right.
And so what I think happened there is movies quoted it wrong.
Probably
and that's
so.
where people started to think it was Luke.
we'll
Because
skip that
Tommy
one.
Boy,
What's that?
Luke, I am your father, when he's
Right.
speaking
Oh, yeah,
into
the
the fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's probably
Looney
Well,
Tunes. How
couldn't-
do you guys spell Looney Tunes?
You're asking
Looney.
L-O-N-E-Y.
And then Tunes. How do you spell Tunes?
Oh,
Toones.
Toones.
Ah, that's the
Looney Tunes.
Mandela effect.
Well, no,
It's
that's-
Tunes.
Oh, so I was right.
What?
Ryan's eyes went, woo.
No
But
way.
that's for me. That wouldn't be.
No,
That's
no.
illiterate.
This is way above my pay grade.
All right, Flintstones. How do you spell Flintstones?
With a T.
You're
Flint.
asking a dyslexic
Flint.
to spell stuff. dude. Come on.
Flintstones.
Flintstone.
Yeah.
With a T.
How do other people
Flintstones.
spell it?
Most people forget the T. They spell Flintstones.
Well, it's because
F-L-I-N.
most people don't pronounce
Stones.
T's.
Flintstones.
Flintstones.
And then there's
Meet
Berenstain
the
Bears.
Flintstones.
All right. Oh, I didn't read that one. Let's see.
Something on the board, right?
Oh, rich Uncle Pennybags.
Oh, the monocle. Isn't that
Oh,
what it is?
he never had a monocle.
Yeah.
Wait, no, what?
See?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
If
you
you
know
look
what?
into these
but
things-
you want to know
That's like
who.
the quintessential
So, but
Monopoly.
Yes, it
I'm
is.
gonna narrow down most.
Actually, the Monopoly Man is one of the bigger ones.
So, but do you want to
Wow.
understand most Manila effects?
Mandela, dude. Okay, if like
You don't have to do that on purpose.
no, you actually.
I can say Mandela. I'm just being honest.
Okay.
So, but most of these things are taken from other movies and misquoting and misrepresenting them. So, in that, with the Monopoly guy, Ace
Yeah.
Ventura knocks out the Monopoly
Oh,
guy
with
and
the
takes his
monocle.
monocle. He goes, "Oh, the Monopoly guy," and it's a
Dude,
guy with a
Steven's
monocle.
onto
So,
it.
a lot of these things are probably because once you've associated one thing, and then you start seeing movies who misrepresent things. Now we've got a different perspective
Well,
of it.
but then does it turn into a game of telephone? Because you know
Well,
how you start
well,
from one
it-
end of the room and go to the other, and it turns into something completely
Yeah,
different.
Well, it could easily.
Yeah.
Because there's so
Because
many.
technically, couldn't you say that's the Mandela effect? I said that right?
No, you,
Okay, cool.
did he?
I think
I
you're
thought you
on
said
a good
Manila.
I
point.
did not say that.
I thought you said
Because
no.
that's what I'm saying.
Well,
like,
mirror, mirror.
What
Even
about-
Disney messed up mirror, mirror. It is not
Yeah.
mirror,
Mirror,
mirror.
mirror
It's
on the wall.
magic mirror on the wall. But even Disney screwed it up.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, can this whole Mandela effect be explained by the fact that humans, by nature, as flawed as we are, do not interpret information as clearly as
well,
that's
we
that's the
forget
argument,
human
yeah.
error.
what?
We forget human error.
No, that's exactly the argument that people take is that people misremember things.
Well, yeah. Well, no. Even,
But again, it goes back to
yeah.
my game of telephone. It's like if I say, blue elephant, and you say pink elephant, and you say orange elephant, and you say
Well,
elephant, and he says monocle. I don't know.
Yeah, well, it's like so. The way I look at it is, so if you're writing a script and you really don't know anything about what you're talking about, but you go, man, it'd be so cool if we referenced this in it, and like actually not knowing what you're referencing, but then
Right.
just taking what did he say in that? Okay, let's use that. But you didn't actually go look and see what they said. And this is actually a thing I think that happens commonly in writing or when you adapt books to movies is you miss so much detail because the people actually writing the scripts don't actually go read the books. And so I feel like there's this human error in it where because there isn't an actual investment into the source material.
It
that
is
you
a
miss.
it is a flaw into interpretation of information
I think
from one
so.
human
Unless
to
it's
another.
unless there's
That's
multiple
how
universes.
that's my logical explanation.
I would say
to
it's like
it.
information overload. Like, I think what we're experiencing is maybe, and this is interesting that you brought this up because I think we have a propensity to invest ourselves in memorizing movies and lyrics from songs like they're our new scripture, as our culture does, I think that it's this thing where there's information overload. There's so much information coming into us day by day, week by week, month by month, that our brains cannot physically process it, Like, we don't spend enough time in silence to actually catch up on the processing queue to accurately download those things. And even if you do spend that time, memory is fallible enough. I think we're experiencing the finite limit of our capacity to process memory as humans.
Well, I would even go to before there was too much information. It's just memory is fickle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's more of that. I think
It's
memories.
when
Figure
you're-
You
people
can't
are
deny
lazy.
that
But
we
when
have
you're a
so
kid-
much
well,
info
yeah,
coming
but-
at us
but-
that's never before happened in
no,
human history.
but this stuff happened in the 80s when it wasn't as much.
Even still, though, that
But-
was more than the human psyche had ever experienced.
But
for the
I
past
think it's
millions of years, or thousands of years, or whatever.
Thousands.
Hundreds
whatever
of
we're
hundreds
at.
of whatever.
What was I
Science.
saying? What was I saying?
I don't know.
I don't remember either. It's weird. how I
Anyways.
forget. Oh wait, I think
Hey,
I was
we're at
talking
an
about.
hour
I
and
think I
50,
was
guys.
talking about Jurassic Park. Right?
Hour 40.
It's amazing. We can
Oh,
just
is it time to go?
bullshit
Would you
and
say
talk
hour
for
40?
hour
Seriously.
40.
Yeah.
Crap.
Hour 30, counting our little 10-minute start there.
We've
But
been doing this for an hour and 40 minutes.
yeah,
30.
and we've only gained viewers.
That's good.
How much are we at right now?
We're at this is the most
What?
viewers
7?
at one time we've ever had.
At 7?
7.
Oh, I thought you said 70.
But usually it'll be like
That's
it'll be like
incredible.
3 or 4, and we'll gain
The
one,
7?
lose one, gain one, lose
Right.
one.
The
We've had
Magnificent
6
Seven.
Have you guys watched
almost
The
the whole
Boys?
time, and now we're at 7.
Yes. It's great.
Wait, watch
Oh
what?
my god,
The
you guys
Boys.
have to watch The Boys.
It's great.
And if you haven't watched The
On
Boys,
what?
on Amazon,
Amazon.
Prime. But if you don't have Amazon Prime, you are coming over to my house and we will watch the whole
well, you
season
haven't
1.
kidnapped me yet.
Season 2
because
is
God
coming
forbid
out.
I haven't watched John
Season
Wick
2's
yet.
3 episodes are out already.
We should do
Yeah.
an episode on John Wick.
We should do an episode on
Well,
John
then
Wick,
someone
but we
needs
have
to
watch-
let me borrow their DVD.
Or just come over to my
No,
house.
John Wick movie party,
We'll have
bro.
a movie party.
Just come to my
we will.
house.
Yeah,
we
we'll
have
have
to
a
all
movie party.
open carry and have whiskey. It's a great idea. It's fine.
Okay.
It's fine. It's fine.
Get a bottle of
good
Buffalo
ideas.
Trace going.
Yeah, bro.
Love Buffalo Trace.
All right. Any last thoughts? We're at a minute.
Buffalo Trace
A
should
minute
be our
40. Hour
sponsor.
40.
Okay.
Any last thoughts,
Ryan,
Daniel?
why don't you start?
Oh, Ryan.
You didn't talk too much this.
We are all living in parallel universes. We've probably shifted a few times.
Elon Musk, red pill.
No, I don't know. I don't have much in the way of thoughts. Like,
Cool. I'll go.
Daniel.
So I would say between Kyler Murray going into his sophomore year in the NFL, between the fact that we're kind of still going on borrowed time with Larry Fitzgerald, the fact that we got DeAndre Hopkins and Christian Kirk and everything else between our offense and defense, the Cardinals should have a decent year this year. But, oh, my God, we are in, like, the hardest division ever. So
I feel
we'll
like Steven had something. Oh, sorry, finish your thought. Finish your thought.
Okay, I'm good, but unless Drew wants to go or Steven wants to.
I think I want Steven to go.
Ryan, what did you say at the beginning?
What?
That we need to make a shirt.
What?
Oh, man. It was before we were streaming.
Yeah, it's before we started because that's what I wanted.
Make
Oh,
it
it was
about
so good.
was it about California or no?
Oh,
it was
it
about
was so good.
what was? Well, okay, so we'll go.
You
This is
forgot.
recorded, so we can go on
No,
YouTube.
no, it
and-
was-
No,
Oh.
it was before we started.
Oh
No,
crap,
it was
damn right.
it was something about Boulder people.
Oh, Boulder people. Oh, people from
I
Boulder saying
learned.
it is an honor to drink my piss.
That's it.
Coors Light.
I was gonna say that. My final words was just to remember that people from Boulder think that we
Light's
should
not
be
even
privileged to drink their piss.
That
what
was
it
so
was.
good, though. I remember.
All right, Andrew, what are your last thoughts?
I'm confused about if you're talking about Coors Light in Boulder because Coors Light is not made in Boulder, Colorado.
I know.
but
It's
No,
Boulder.
I was doing like a
But we-
a voice a mic test, and I
Uh-huh.
said something along the lines of Coors Light made in Boulder, Colorado, and then like Ryan
It's Golden, Colorado.
or Golden.
Golden.
I know it's
But
golden,
The
but
joke was that
Oh,
people
that's
in
so
Boulder
Boulder.
think that you should be privileged to drink their
piss.
piss.
Yeah.
that's probably true.
They are on the mountain. It
I
drips
can't, We just lost
down.
our whole audience from Boulder.
Oh, there we go.
Oh
We
no.
don't want you
I don't
anyway.
want
Okay.
anyway
We
from
don't want-
Boulder anyway.
Yeah, it's
My
all
brother went to see you, Boulder, so that's okay. I'll
Last
forgive
That
him
explains
for
a
that.
lot.
Well, you talked about the Cardinals. I got to talk about my Broncos.
Okay, go for your
We're
donkey.
really sad about Von Miller's injury, but I think we're going to be able to at least be competitive in games.
I'm sorry. The fact that you guys won a championship off the back of one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time in the midst of like your horrible situation with your ownership and the coaching staff
Yeah.
and like the ownership
Well, it
staff.
wasn't
We didn't win off the
Manning-
back
we
of
didn't
him.
win on Manning. He
We
was
won on the
terrible.
back
Eli-
of Von Miller.
no, what?
We won on the
Peyton
back of
Manning
Von
was
Miller.
really bad that year, actually.
Yeah, he was
Peyton
terrible. He
Manning?
missed the last
That
4
season
games.
that we won the Super Bowl, he was
Yeah,
not
he
good.
had a
Oh, really?
he pulled something in his foot or cheated on his wife.
We
I'm
won
not
because
sure.
we won.
There's a
because
rumor.
of
There's a
one of
rumor.
the- We won because of one of the best defenses ever made,
Yeah.
led by Von
That,
Miller.
that explains
Yeah.
a lot. But
So that's why we love Von Miller in Denver.
And
Denver
Peyton
Bronco
Manning
country,
coming
yes.
back in the final game of the season against the Chargers
That was
midway
awesome.
in the second half
Yeah.
to win.
Yeah, that was
That's
cool.
what got us first seed.
Mhm.
Oh, I remember.
Anyway,
That
I'm
was the
looking
last
forward to
time I
watching the
cared.
Broncos. They're playing Tennessee Titans on Monday Night Football. Looking forward to that.
Nice.
it'll
Go
be on.
Broncos.
It'll be on TV so I can watch
Yes, MSNBC.
MSNBC.
MSNBC. Sports are starting up. Boys.
MSNBC?
Boys.
ESPN,
Boys.
Not NBC.
Boys.
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 Drew. Hour and 42 minutes with no topic.
Wow.
I think that this speaks a lot to like the chemistry between all of us. I think it does.
Or-
the fact that we can bullshit
It was
our way
it
through
was
this whole
like
was
an
gonna
episode.
say,
hour and
chemistry-
20 minutes of you two talking and maybe 15 minutes of us.
That's not entirely true. We went back and forth.
Yeah, we go back and forth.
Hey, but you know what? Next week we'll have a topic. This week we just didn't come up with one. We decided we should drink sake and drink. And hey, you guys seem to like it. So thanks for watching Guy Ideas. As far as my final thoughts go, I mean, we covered so much, it's almost even hard to recap. Everything humans do at some point becomes elitist. That's one thought.
Andrew.
It's the Berenstein Bears, and we live in an alternate universe. That's clearly true. Lizard people
Truly.
are indeed real.
Disclaimer.
And yeah, I think this. If you guys enjoyed watching the show, whether you watched live or whether you watched some point in the future from when I'm saying this, please support us, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell.
Buy
We'd
our
love to have you
t-shirts
back.
that don't exist.
Subscribe.
Buy our
Hit the
t-shirts that
bell.
don't exist. Yeah.
Please share.
Yeah.
And ladies, remember, lie to us about our size.
We
That's your
can't
final
let
thought.
Steven end it, but we gotta let him try. Thanks for watching Ideas. And not next week, but 2 weeks from now on Wednesday at 7:30, we will be back with another episode of Guy Ideas. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.
7:30 Mountain Standard Time.
Leave more comments. If you have things you think we should talk about, we would love to talk about them. So leave that in the comments, and we'll bring it up next time.
Follow me
on
on
Guy Ideas.
Go
follow me on
Broncos.
Twitter.